This is the Real Debrief, a safe space for veterans, sharing wins and losses. The Real Debrief on Dreamcatcher Radio. No fluff, no script, just real talk. Pull up a sandbag and strap yourselves in.
What did we learn, Palmer?
I don't know, sir.
I don't fucking know either. I guess we learned not to do it again.
Yes, sir.
I'm fucked if I know what we did.
Yes, sir. It's hard to say.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Five, four, three, two, one. We have ignition. Strap in. You're about to listen to the hottest sounds.
Dreamcatcher Radio.
Good afternoon and welcome to Dreamcatcher Radio. This show is very different to the ones that I'd normally do here on Dreamcatcher Radio. This is Bradders, by the way. I want to give a trigger warning because we're going to discuss issues which are not that pleasant. And it's not me fear-mongering or looking to scaremonger. These are serious issues and there's so much evidence out there that we really need to question. Are we preparing for World War III? Okay, let's get today's show started with You're in the Army Now by Status Quo.
The best he can, you're in the army now. Oh, you're in the army now. Now you remember what the draft man said. Nothing to do all day but stay in bed. You're in the army now. Oh, you're in the army now. Be the hero of the neighborhood.
So, as I said, I'm not here to scaremonger, and I'm not the only one thinking about this issue, which I think is very, very worrying. One thing I can tell you, I was in Libya before the US and the coalition, which included the UK, attacked Libya, and I saw the devastation of how it changed Libya. I mean, it's now gone back, I don't know, probably a century now. The point being is, when war happens, that's it, it's game over. Your life will be turned upside down. I'm not saying war will happen here in the UK, but it appears that the government is preparing us for war. There's a conspiracy theory going around regarding COVID and whether or not the UK and other countries around the world would be susceptible to staying at home. And what do they say in wartime? Stay at home. It's a conspiracy theory, I know, but it's a conspiracy theory that's out there. I'm just going to play an interview here that I played, which I did with Patrick Christie from GB News. It's pretty rustic, I apologise. However, I just randomly bumped into him outside Buckingham Palace, and I asked him a couple of questions.
Believe it or not, I cannot believe I'm with Patrick, right? So we're in London doing tour stuff. Steve, the station manager, had gone off somewhere down there. What are you here for, Patrick?
Oh, right. Well,
before you answer that, I'm a massive fan of this guy and what he's doing.
Good.
What he's doing on GB News. Even though I've got my own radio station, this guy's amazing.
Oh, bless you. Well, thank you very much. That's
so, Patrick, what are you doing outside Buckingham Palace?
Well, Ed Davey, the Lib Dem leader, has decided that he is going to boycott President Trump's state banquet here, out of principle. He doesn't want to go. So I've just come to try to find American tourists to see if they can identify who he is. Right? But I actually am not sure that a lot of British people could identify who he is. So we'll find out, won't we? But just makes a bit of a mockery, really. I'm sure President Trump's devastated.
And listen, right, the other thing as well, I've been watching when you've been in France and stuff
Yeah.
Can you say stuff about that?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's quite eye-opening.
Actually, can I ask you a question, right? You gave all the evidence to the government.
Yeah.
Right? How did you deliver it, and what sort of?
We sent them all the information about human traffickers that we've got and all the evidence that we had there to the National Crime Agency. We've sent it directly to Border Force and the Home Office directly as well. So we just compiled it as a dossier and emailed it over to them. We're in quite regular contact with them. They don't seem to have really done anything about it, as far as I can tell. We also handed it over to the French police as well over there, well, it's hard for us to tell what they've done, but the boats haven't stopped coming, have they? So, I mean, it's quite eye-opening over there, really. I mean, the problem is absolutely vast, and it doesn't seem like any deal that Keir Starmer's willing to do with the French is going to make a blind bit of difference, unfortunately.
I put you on the spot.
Yeah.
Right? I know you're going to do some recording. Do you actually believe the government want to stop the boats? What do you think? What is your personal belief?
Bearing in mind that the government is currently in court today to try to appeal the closure of a migrant hotel, and they have argued in that the rights of asylum seekers trump the rights of local residents. That's in Epping. I mean, that tells,
for the sake of the audience, that's the Bell Hotel.
That's the Bell Hotel. Yeah. That tells you a lot about the psychology of the government and what their priorities are. You also have to look at the track record politically and in terms of an activist sense of a lot of the people that are in the Labour Party, the Home Secretary and the Prime Minister. And you really do have to wonder whether or not they've never wanted to stop it before. So when they say they want to stop it now, I find that quite hard to believe. But I mean, if he wants to stay in power, he's going to have to stop it. But I think that ship has sailed anyway.
Yeah. And what do you think about reform, just out of interest, Patrick?
Well, it's interesting. I mean, the latest polls have got them absolutely surging ahead now, and that is. They are surging ahead as a result of the announcement on deportations that Nigel Farage made. I think it was 2 days ago now, was it? Which is a plan. People can agree with it or disagree with it, but it's definitely a plan. It's a comprehensive plan compared to anything else that we've got. And the British public, I think, have had enough, aren't they? I think people generally feel as though they're ready to try something new. You know, the Tory party cocked up massively. The Labour Party have been a bit of an ocean-going disaster. The Liberal Democrats, well, I mean, we don't even know who this guy is anymore, do we? The Greens
I didn't even know it.
Yeah, the Greens are a bit fruity. So, I mean, I suppose when you look at who else is left on the table there...
Just one final question, because I was just literally doing this tourist stuff.
Yeah.
In terms of freedom of speech, what do you think about freedom of speech? Because for me, the reason why I started the radio station, freedom of speech, what do you think about freedom of speech in the UK? I mean, you can even
well,
talk about Lucy Connolly as well.
Yeah, I mean, we've got it's definitely under threat in a way that it wasn't before, especially with police doing things like non-crime hate incidents and knocking on people's doors for tweets and Facebook posts and all of that stuff. So I think people generally feel a bit more on edge, and I think people feel that there's more to speak out on now. You know, we're better informed when it comes to controversial topics like the illegal migrant crisis, and I think people are worried that that might mean that if they say what they really feel, they might get locked up for it. But I'm afraid I'm going to have to go now, mate, because I've got to do my own job.
Patrick, thank you.
My personal opinion is the government don't want to stop these fighting aged men to come into the country. Now, if you ever notice about the media, is the narrative always is the same. So if a government projects out a word, fighting aged men, I believe that word come from the government, and the media has just shared it, so it sinks into your head. So I believe the government are preparing for something. Again, it's a conspiracy theory. I get it, because we don't know, because they don't tell us. But I think the mere word fighting aged men is either to scare us or to get it into our heads that these people are coming into the country to help us.
You are my universe, and I just want to put you first. And you are my universe, and in the night I lie and look up at you. When the morning comes I watch you rise. There's a paradise they couldn't capture, that bright infinity inside your eyes. 매일 밤 내게 날아가 꿈이란 것도 잊은 채 나 웃으며 너를 만나. Never ending forever baby. You are my universe, and I just want to put you first. You are my universe, and you make my world light up inside. 어둠이 내게 언제 변했었지. 길어진 그림자 속에서. And they said that we can't be together because we come from different sides. You are my universe, and I just want to put you first. You are my universe, and you make my world light up inside. My universe, my universe, my universe. 나를 밝혀주는 건 너란 사랑으로 수놓아진 별. 내 우주와 넌 다른 세상을 만들어주는 걸. 너는 내 별이자 나의 호주니까. 지금의 시련도 결국엔 잠시니까. 너는 언제까지나 지금처럼 밝게만 빛나줘. 우리는 너를 따라 이긴 밤을 수놓고 너와 함께 날아가. When I'm without you I'm crazy. 자 어서 내 손을 잡아. We are made of each other baby. You are my universe, and I just want to put you first. You are my universe, and you make my world light up inside. My universe, my universe, my universe.
Now, I'm going to play you a clip here that's circling the web. What's really interesting is the comments in this clip. It's from a purported whistleblower. I have some questions, but have a listen to this.
People of England, Ireland, Scotland and Wales, first of all I want to apologise because I feel I betrayed you. This is going to be very hard for me to do, but it needs to be told. I'm not going to tell you my name, you could just call me the whistleblower, because this needs to be told. I own a small bread and breakfast / hotel on the outskirts between London and Bristol. Exactly where, I won't say. I was commandeered by the office of 10 Downing Street to rehome refugee families. When the first lot of refugees came, there was not one woman, there was not one child. The people that turned up were men from the age of 19 to 30, I would say. I have enough room for about 250 residents. I currently house 150 immigrants. Yes, I did receive quite a large sum of money for doing so. On doing so, the government told me that I had to fire all my staff and they will supply their own, and also that they will supply security guards for the bread and breakfast. Well, about 2 weeks ago, I received a phone call to say that a large parcel will be arriving sometime this evening. Around about 2:30 in the morning, I received another phone call to say that the parcel has arrived, and can I open up the rear servant entrance at the back of the B&B, which I went down and met some army personnel, which kind of surprised me very, very much. The person in charge, I don't know who he was, colonel or whatnot, asked me to show him to a secure room within the B&B, which I did. On doing so, they loaded in roughly between 60 and 70 really big crates. I asked what was in the crates, and I was told that I was not permitted to know. He then handed me a smaller parcel and told me that I will receive a phone call to give me further instructions on what to do and when to open this parcel, which was very strange. So I've had this parcel now for about a week in my office, and I started talking to a friend of mine, and he said, well, do you know what, you don't know what's inside those parcels, it could be anything, it's your property, whatever's inside your property you own the rights to open, and I should have a look what it was. And I was debating about it for a little while, and I thought, you know what, you are kind of right. If it's in my property, I want to know what it is. So I opened the small parcel up, and inside was a letter with a list of names and numbers written next to the name. On realising that each name on the letter was one of the refugees, and there was a smaller box inside the parcel. I opened that, and there was a series of keys with numbers on. So I went down to the secure lock where these crates were and noticed that each crate had a number on it and each key had a number on it. So I took 2 keys for 2 of the crates and I opened up the crates. Crate 1. There was a load of AK-47 machine guns. Crate 2 were a number of hand grenades. Now when I say this, I'm saying this as you could start a new war off with what I was looking at. There was enough ammunition inside one of the crates to easy wipe out my little village. Boom, gone, easy. Now I'm a bit stuck because I don't want these refugees here anymore. but I'm contracted to house them for a period of time. I don't know if I can give the government their money back and tell them to sweet off or not, I don't know. All I do know is in good faith, I cannot allow these men to have these crates. I am going to move them away from my property to a secure garage that I have not too far, because I'm not going to be responsible for allowing our government to kill us, the innocent people. Because it's obvious to me now that this is their plan.
Now, looking at the comments on these videos, and there's many copies of this made on the web now, and reading them, there's a massive push on the way of people saying, "Oh yeah, I knew it's coming, I knew it's happening. The government is preparing for war." Now, that's the larger proportion of the comments, as well as lots of insults as well. But for a whistleblower, there's lots of identifiers in this audio. Number one, she says her B&B, bear in mind she says bed and breakfast, that stands for, is between London and Bristol. She then goes on to say it's in a small village. Who knows of a B&B with that many rooms? It's massive, in a small village. I don't know any small villages between London and Bristol that has a bed and breakfast that size. So that's very questionable. I mean, I would have, sounds more like a hotel, really. Now, she then goes on to say that she took the money, the government money, which is understandable, considering the vast sums they're paying. And then she got told to sack her staff, which is the common theme that we've all heard in the media and with citizen press and journalism, which is amazing, really. The how much effort people are putting in, like general citizens are putting in for anything they see now, any movement, any things they can find on the web, and sharing it. The amount we rely on the internet and social media is unbelievable. Now, she goes on to say she had a phone call, and at 2:30 in the morning, some army personnel turned up and they wanted a secure room for a large array of crates, and she didn't know what was in it, and was told to she's got given a box for herself, and had to wait for a phone call before she could open it. And rightly so. If it were true, this story, I'd question it, to be honest. She basically decided to open Pandora's box, which had keys and names, and for each of these boxes and numbers. And she goes and opens the boxes, and she says there's AK-47s in there, bombs in there, and all this sort of jazz. Now, one thing I will say, which again, that's why I find I don't believe this whatsoever, is with that amount of ammo, the military wouldn't leave that just randomly in a secure cupboard. That would be outrageous. And then she goes on to say she moved this vast amount of military weapons to a lockup. Now, I'm guessing that amount of crates would take quite a few military personnel to lift to put into this secure room. And then she said she moved it herself. And like I say, this is very, very fishy, very fishy. But people are believing it. People are believing it. I'm not saying it's not true. All I'm saying is the fear mongering is out there, and content like this is online, and people believing it. It's had so many views, so many views. But anyway, I think, for a whistleblower, if this was all correct, it wouldn't take too long for the government to work out who's actually saying this. So again, that gives me credence to the fact that this is nonsense.
Dreamcatcher Radio.
Dreamcatcher Radio is about capturing and creating dreams through music, chat, and debate. Empowering expression, enriching society. A go-to place for unsigned musical talent. A radio station which listens to its audience. Free speech, vibrant, engaging. Stream worldwide 24/7. Events, competitions, promotions. Always keen to have a listening ear. Contact us. hello@dreamcatcherradio.com.
Dreamcatcher Radio.
I vow to thee, my country, all lovely things above, and won't perfect the service of my love, the love that is no question, the longest as the days that knees upon the altar, the dearest and the best, the love that never falters, the love that pays the price, the love that makes it better, the final sacrifice.
Wow, what a wonderful song. I vow to thee, my country, by the brands of Her Majesty's Royal Marines. So obviously it's His Royal Highness now. What a wonderful song. Made me like put hairs on my back then. So I'm going to start playing some various clips just of what people are talking about in the social media world. Some of it from mainstream media, some of it from citizen journalists. Have a listen to this.
What exactly are the government planning for here? This is something you all need to see. A mass fatality resilience capability lot. Yeah, and a contract has just been awarded to a supplier. So what does this mean? Well, it does exactly what it says on the tin. Pause to read, but the second paragraph, in the event of a major incident resulting in a large number of fatalities which could overwhelm existing body storage capacity. So what exactly do the government think are going to happen right before the kids go back to school, by the way? Now, of course, this mass fatality capability isn't anything new. We were prepared for it during COVID. There's been preparation for it in case of natural disasters, for example. But when was the last time this country had a massive tsunami or a devastating earthquake? And are there currently any hints of a deadly pandemic sweeping across planet Earth? No. What's the one thing that we've got going on right now in this country that could suddenly cause mass fatalities? Could it possibly be a large-scale, countrywide, orchestrated series of terror attacks?
Coupled with that, my thinking was, these temporary COVID hospitals that got set up around the UK, and they're still set up in now. And those question, why are they still set up? I mean, you could say it's good government preparation, but I just wonder why. Is this all by design? I question it. So that was Five Fingers Death Punch, Wrong Side of Heaven. I urge you to go and watch that on YouTube. There's fantastic statistics there as the song is being played, and some not so nice images, but it's a fact. Now, what in an ideal world is we wouldn't be having wars, but you would not believe the amount of wars that are going on around the world today. There's so many that we don't even know about that go unreported. There's so much death and destruction going on, so much, and it's tragic beyond belief. Human life is becoming cannon fodder. Now, when I said earlier, maybe the government are planning using the word fighting age men into this country so that they could fight for our country. It sounds kind of laughable in some aspects. However, that's one of the conspiracy theories going around. That they're planning on utilizing these men to fight for our country. Why would they fight for a country? Who knows? Maybe they like fighting. I don't know. I find it very difficult to believe that they can get trained up in time for some sort of military operation. I also thinking in my mind, go back to Ukraine. Ukraine are just grabbing random people to go and fight for them. They're literally just grabbing people off their own streets. Also, they're inviting people into their countries and putting them into, giving them a gun and put them on the front line just to go and die. They're literally just rolling them up, put them on the front line. Most of them only speak Ukrainian language, let alone English. The communication must be really poor, must be just hand signals. But they're doing it. They're doing it. And it's just, it really is. Human beings are being used in war games, but it's serious. Can you imagine the future, right, of all the families that are going to be upset, angry, and hate the respective countries that are involved in this? And I find it deeply upsetting of what's going on around the world. And it's a number of reasons. I think I can think of three off the top of my head: is money, control, and religion. And I find each of them a massive element. I mean, I watched a video the other day on Speaker's Corner. Just the amount of arguments they have over religion, and the amount of fights and stuff they have there. That's just citizens arguing over different opinions on religion. Your God's better than my God, and the like. So if citizens are arguing, just imagine what it's like in the upper echelons in the world. And then you think about, the general public ourselves. And I talk a lot about freedom of speech and how it's being diminished at a rapid pace. Some guy the other day got arrested for calling someone a muppet. I mean, the police officers that said that are muppets themselves. And I'm probably at risk of getting arrested for saying those police officers were muppets, which basically means idiots. I checked the definition. Because it makes no sense. No judge in the land should convict on that. No CPS should convict on that. But perhaps he will get convicted. It's insanity. Insanity. That's what I mean by freedom of speech is getting diminished day by day.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again, because a vision softly creeping left its seeds while I was sleeping, and the vision that was planted in my brain still remains within the sound of silence. It I walked alone, narrow streets of cobblestone, neath the halo of a street lamp, I turned my collar to the cold and damp. When my eyes were stabbed by the flash of a neon light that split the night and touched the sound of silence. And in the naked light I saw 10,000 people, maybe more. People talking without speaking. People hearing without listening. People writing songs that voices never share. And no one dared disturb the sound of silence. Fool said I, you do not know. Silence like a cancer grows. Hear my words that I might teach you. Take my arms that I might reach you. But my words, like silent raindrops, fell and echoed in the wells of silence. And the people bowed and prayed to the neon god they made. And the sign flashed out its warning, and the words that it was forming. And the sign said the words of the prophets are written on the subway walls and tenement halls, and whispered in the sound of silence.
Russia, Russia, Russia. This one confuses me. China as well is another one. Apparently, they're our enemies, and they're out to get us. And Iran also are out to get us. And probably Libyans are out to get us if they could mobilize. And Iraqis are out to get us if they could mobilize. God knows what's going on in Afghanistan at the moment. But, you know, we're a small country. We're a small country. We need to be more peaceful and not follow the Americans. And just it scares me what goes on behind closed doors. The type of meetings and discussions and bad intelligence. You know, and we've complained about we've got spies in our country from other countries. We've got spies in other countries, and we got spies from our country spying on our own citizens, legitimate citizens who were just going about their everyday business, trying to feed their families in a very, very difficult climate. And it's scary. It's scary. I'm going to play you some clips now, and then there's a larger clip, a video, audio, sorry, talking about Russia. Russia, Russia, Russia. I'm just going to say, I'm going to be sharing random clips. The other thing as well, we're told to become preppers now. It's all over the news, and it's on government websites. We've got to prepare for war. Twice now we've had our phones accessed by the government, or probably by a private company. Actually, it cost the government £25 million, didn't it, for the latest one? So it'd be by a private company who can access our phones. Probably switch them off, listening to our cause, all that sort of jazz. That's why I just don't worry about that sort of stuff no more, because they can deny it all they like. I know they do it. So, yeah. Anyway, we're going to play some various clips now.
Right, so a lot of developing news coming out today, September the 8th, 2025, as we're hearing that around the world there are various nations that are positioning their naval fleets and their armies for what could be an all-out global conflict. We're hearing potentially World War III. Let's go ahead and take a look at the latest headlines so that way you can see it for yourself. Now, you can see coming out today, September the 8th, 2025, Russia has revealed nuclear submarine mission in the Pacific coming out today. Also coming out today, September the 8th, 2025, China sends Navy ships to America's doorstep. Also coming out today, September the 8th, 2025, British aircraft carrier emerges on Russia's eastern flank. And also, take a look at this. Finland deploys Israeli Gabriel 5 missile, boosting Baltic naval powers. And you can see here, coming out a couple days ago, naval drills near Guam and the Philippines. They coincide with China's military parade. As I let you know, we saw the adversaries of the United States unite, over 20 adversarial nations in China in that parade coming together. And take a look at this. Venezuelan military jets buzz over U.S. Navy ships in a highly provocative move, the Pentagon says, as we've seen U.S. Navy fleets moving into the Caribbean. And we're hearing Venezuela saying this is an act of war, sending those jet fighters over those ships in a very provocative move. Now, as I mentioned, we saw China have that parade with adversaries. Donald Trump coming out and saying, I know what you're doing. You're conspiring against the U.S. I see you. Well, China flaunted during that parade new hypersonic missiles, new nuclear warheads for potential critical strikes, which they said could hit anywhere in the world, including the United States. And in addition to that, take a look coming out today. Russia has now responded to Donald Trump's sanctions threats. As we saw, I shared with you yesterday, Donald Trump came out and said that he is very upset with the way that Russia has failed to come to the negotiating table with Ukraine. He said it seems like Putin says that, hey, we're going to reach a negotiation, a peace deal, and then that same day strikes Ukraine. And we've seen in the last 24 hours the largest strike against Ukraine since the war began. And he said it is now time to increase those sanctions, get very aggressive with Russia. I'm going to share with you the responses. Vladimir Putin is coming out and saying, we do not care. Now, let me know your thoughts. All these headlines coming out today in the last 24 hours, September the 8th, 2025. Are we going to be heading to war? Or are we going to be having peace? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, war or peace. But a lot speculating with all the conflict taking place. It looks like nations are positioning themselves for potential all-out global war.
Security strategy. For the first time in many years, we have to, the government tells us, actively prepare for the possibility of the UK homeland coming under direct threat, potentially in a wartime scenario. The years ahead will test the UK. The direction it takes, the decisions we take will reverberate through the decades. And we're going to get these fighter jets with nuclear capability.
Yeah, so
Britain is preparing for a direct military attack by Russia. Keir Starmer has ordered a review of secret war plans, which are spelled out in the Homeland Defence Plans. It reveals how the government would respond to a strike by a hostile foreign state. It's being updated by officials in the government after a series of threats against the UK from the Kremlin. That includes planning for if critical national infrastructure like power stations were to be targeted, how public services would be maintained, and contingency planning for sheltering government ministers and the royal family. A simulation in January found a successful attack was likely to result in fatalities for civilians and emergency service workers, while causing serious economic damage and disruption to essential services. So is it time we take the threat seriously?
Your life that the fear of death can never enter your heart. Trouble no one about his religion. Respect others in their views, and demand that they respect yours. Love your life. Perfect your life.
Beautify all things in your life. Seek to make your life long,
and of service to your people. When your time comes to die, be not like those whose hearts are filled with fear of death, so that when their time comes, they weep and pray for a little more time to live their lives over again in a different way. Sing your death song and die like a hero, going home.
Lock that down.
It's time to strap our boots on. This is a perfect day to die. Wipe the blood out of our eyes. In this life there's no surrender, and there's nothing left for us to do. Find the strength to see this through. Final breath, we'll fight to the death. We are soldiers, we are soldiers.
We Are Soldiers by Acts of Valor. Still, one thing I hate in our society is lobbyists. They do my head in. I'm guessing you need people to promote companies and agendas, but for example, in America, lobbying is just surreal. the amount of millions of pounds that get exchanged. I don't understand how politicians, right? They need money to run campaigns and that sort of stuff, but the monies are so vast. Do you see the stories about the U.S. Congress and the Senate over there? How much money Ukraine has sent to politicians? So the Americans are sending them money, and Ukraine are sending it back to the politicians. Surreal, absolutely surreal. Just I was listening to that song, which is a great song. Again, go to YouTube and have a watch of the video. It's very, very compelling. Do you remember when Ian Duncan Smith said the military should be ballerinas? He got a lot of stick for that, didn't he? Got a lot of stick for that. I'm going to play some more clips. I'll start with our friend Piers Morgan, who I really, to be honest, I really can't stand him. He does some great, great stuff. But, you know, on his news, especially in regards to Israel-Palestine, he was so pro-Israel, so pro-Israel, because that's what he was told to do. And then suddenly the government told them, no, now we're basically, they need to stop and we're pro-Palestine and trying to help them out and with aid and stuff like that. I don't really believe that whatsoever. I think it's just what the public wanted. Look at all the people getting arrested. Do you know the other day as well? So one thing I noticed is with the protesters for Palestine and the ones specifically recently in London and where they're getting arrested. What I find really fascinating, absolutely fascinating, is the older generation are stepping up now and they're protesting, saying this is not right. It needs to stop. Protests, in my experience, hardly ever work. And if they do work, it's a facade of working. There'll be something else being done behind closed doors which you don't know about. Think about the poll tax, for example, prime example. You know, it changed into council tax. But you know, a military vet who was in his 90s in a wheelchair, being lifted out of his wheelchair, being carried by police to get arrested for having a sign. Then you had a blind guy who had a sign, and anything can be written on that sign anyway. But but he was pro basically saying stop the genocide that's going on. It cannot be argued that it's not genocide. It cannot be argued. And just look at my opinion, it's they're doing carpet bombing over there. And then you look at all, Trump's proposal to make it into a new Mecca and a new seafront resorts and all this sort of thing. How could you be so evil to even think this is a good idea? And that's what I don't understand about people. It's a Stockholm syndrome. Let's just do this, right? And they come up with plans and share them in a positive light. Like, all right, so carpet bomb the place, and then what we're going to do is rebuild it. And there's even a word reference to the word Trump's in the new plans as well. I mean, what I found was really funny, really funny, is when Trump went to North Korea and they did a presentation of a Western plan of what North Korea could look like. I thought, you know what, the guy's a nut job. There's no way they want to be like us. And in some respects, I don't blame him sometimes. I mean, but North Korea's a scary place by all accounts, isn't it? But to go there and sell a plan saying be like us, and here's a lovely presentation. They did a video and everything. Absolutely mind-boggling. Anyway, here's some more clips.
Russian state television have issued a brazen warning that Moscow could wipe out Britain with a nuclear tsunami in retaliation for supporting Ukraine, declaring there would be no survivors.
In Britain, they seem to be rambling. Why do they threaten vast Russia with nuclear weapons while they are only a small island? Why do they play games? Another option is to plunge Britain into the depths of the sea using Russian underwater robotic drone Poseidon. The explosion of this torpedo close to Britain's shores will raise a giant wave, a tsunami up to 500 meters. This tidal wave is also a carrier of extremely high doses of radiation. Surging over Britain, it will turn what is left of them into radioactive desert. This is the exact amount of food you'll need if World War III breaks out, and this is a scenario that Brits are being told they must prepare for. France, Sweden, Finland and Norway have handed out leaflets telling their citizens to stock up on food in anticipation of a nuclear attack. If Britain did the same, this is what it's likely we would be advised to do. Make sure you have a week's supply of food, bottled water, paracetamol and loads of emergency Snickers bars, as well as battery-operated devices and a couple of charging units loaded for a few days from the electricity supply, which will probably be turned off.
Across France have reportedly been told to prepare for a potential armed conflict by next year, with the government urging health providers to be ready. According to French media, in a leaked letter sent to health agencies across the country, the government says hospitals should be prepared for a major military engagement as soon as March 2026. It said that between 10,000 and 50,000 men could be expected in French hospitals over a 6-month period, which could include foreign soldiers who are coordinated with NATO and the EU. They are planning medical transit centres to make use of regional facilities and to distribute patients arriving from potential front lines. According to the reports, doctors are also being warned to prepare for shortages. The French health minister hasn't denied the letter and stressed it was a precautionary measure, but that aggression from some actors means the country needs to prepare for the worst. It comes months after the government announced a survival manual which is set to be sent to every household in the country. The 20-page booklet is said to include details of what to do in a variety of emergencies, including nuclear blasts and natural disasters, and contains a survival kit packing list, which includes water, tinned food, paracetamol and a torch.
You're broken down and tired of living life on the merry-go-round, and you can't find a fighter, but I see it in you, so we gon' walk it out. Move mountains, we gon' walk it out and move mountains. And I'll rise like the day. I'll rise unafraid. I'll rise up, and I do it 1,000 times again. And I'll rise up, I like the waves. I'll rise up, in spite of the ache. I'll rise up, and I do it 1,000 times again. The silence isn't quiet, and it feels like it's getting hard to breathe. And I know you feel like dying, but I promise we'll take the world to its feet. Move mountains, bring it to its feet. Move mountains. And I'll rise up, I'll rise like the day. I'll rise up, I'll rise unafraid. I'll rise up, and I do it 1,000 times again. That we have each other, and for that we have each other, and we will rise, we will rise, we will rise, we'll rise. I'll rise up, I will rise 1,000 times again. And we'll rise up. I like the waves. We'll rise up. In spite of the ache, we'll rise up. And we'll do it 1,000 times again.
Thank you for taking me out.
That was Rise Up. Earlier I was talking about the government alarm system. Have a listen to this.
Stop what you're doing right now if you are watching this, because you need to pay attention. Because very soon, every single mobile phone across the United Kingdom is going to blast out an emergency alarm. Yes, that's right. Your phone, your partner's phone, your kid's phone, all of them. And it is not a drill well. It is a test. But the reason why is far more serious than you might think. The government is warning Britain to prepare for war. I'm Alex Armstrong and this is GB News Originals. Please don't forget to subscribe and like the video before we get into it. First, let's break down what's actually happening. The UK Emergency Alert System is a nationwide warning system that can send a message directly to every mobile phone in a given area, or, in this case, the whole country. When the system is triggered, your phone will make a loud siren-like sound, vibrate and display an urgent message, even if your phone is set to silent. You don't need to be signed up. You don't need to give your number, and you don't need to do anything. The alert is going to happen automatically. The government and emergency services use this system to warn you if there's a life-threatening emergency nearby. That could be anything from severe flooding, wildfires, extreme weather events included. The idea is simple: get the message out fast and save as many lives as possible. Now, this isn't the first time we've seen this, is it? The system was first tested in April 2023, and since then it's been used for real events like during Storm Dara, when people in Wales and the southwest got an alert warning them of the danger. But this year it is different. The government is testing the system again, and this time it's against a much darker backdrop. Let's get into the heart of the matter. The UK government's national security strategy, published just days ago, has issued a blunt warning. Britain must actively prepare for a potential wartime scenario on our home soil. For the first time in years, ministers are telling us we need to be ready for war. Right here in the UK. Why? Well, because many people argue that threats to the UK are real and that they're growing. The government, of course, points to rising aggression from hostile states like Russia and Iran. Russian cyber attacks, sabotage, and Iranian hostile activity are definitely increasing in the UK. The strategy warns that some adversaries are laying the foundations for a future conflict, positioning themselves to disrupt our energy supplies, supply chains, and even deter us from standing up to their aggression. This isn't just about sending troops overseas, of course, it's about protecting us in the homeland. The government is calling for an all-of-society effort to counter threats like assassination, espionage, and cyber attacks. They're investing $800 million in new biolabs and nuclear-capable F-35A jets, and they're urging businesses, councils, and you citizens at home to take part in annual national resilience exercises. And here's the kicker. The government is telling you, the Brits at home, to stockpile essentials such as tin food, batteries, and other basics. It's a message we haven't heard since the Cold War, one that many of us, including myself, may never have heard. And it's a sign of just how serious things have become. So what does that mean for you? Well, later this year, the exact date hasn't been set yet, but every phone in the United Kingdom will receive a test emergency message from their alert system. When it comes, your phone will make a loud siren-like noise for about 10 seconds. It's going to vibrate, and then it's going to pop up a message on screen. It will look something like this. Severe alert. This is a test of emergency alerts, a new UK government service that will warn you if there is a life-threatening emergency nearby. In a real emergency, follow the instructions in the alert to keep yourself and others safe. Visit gov.uk/alerts for more information. This is a test. You do not need to take any action. Well, the message is clear. This is a test. But in a real emergency, of course, it could save your life. And from now on, the government plans to test this system every 2 years to make sure it's ready when we need to use it. Now, lots of people, some of you watching this video, are going to shrug this off as just another government test. I can understand that. But let's be clear, this is more about than just checking a box, as they do in Whitehall often. The world is changing, and the threats to our security are evolving. And the government is preparing for the worst. And of course, rightfully, they want you to be ready too. The emergency alert system is just one part of a much bigger plan. The UK's resilience framework is all about making sure we can withstand shocks, whether that's a natural disaster, a terrorist attack, or yes, even war. The idea to make sure that when the worst happens is that we are not, as a country, caught off guard. But there are challenges. Not everyone has a mobile phone, of course. Over 1.3 million people in the UK still don't. That's why the government is also looking at other ways to get the message out. That's like local radio broadcasts. And there are concerns, of course, about privacy, about the stress the alarm might cause, and about what happens if the system is overused or even misused. But for now, the focus is, of course, on making sure we are prepared. So, what should you do? Well, first of all, don't panic. It is a test, of course, and the government is being upfront about it. Of course, we're telling you in advance too. But do take the warning seriously. If you want to opt out, maybe you're worried about the alarm or have had your hidden phone in your own for your own safety somewhere, you can turn off the alerts. On Apple devices, go to Settings, then Notifications, and scroll down to Extreme and Severe Alerts to toggle them off. And while you're at it, think about your own preparedness. The government is urging people to stock up on the essentials, and frankly, it's not a bad idea. Tin food, batteries, water, these are things you should have at home just in case something does go wrong. Finally, stay informed. Keep an eye on the news and make sure you know what to do if you get a real emergency alert. The government will give you clear instructions in that message if it does happen, but it's up to you, of course, to act on it. The world is a more dangerous place than it was a few years ago. The war in Ukraine, rising tensions in the Middle East, cyber attacks, sabotage, these are real threats, and we don't always hear about them either. And they're not going to go away. The government is taking them seriously, and I think you should too. The emergency alert system is a vital tool in our nation's resilience toolkit. It's not perfect, but it is a start. And the government are warning us to prepare for war, which really is more important now and seems more likely than it ever has been. And let's hope it doesn't happen, but you should be ready for whatever comes next. So when your phone blasts out that alarm later this year, don't ignore it. Take a moment to think about what it means and what you can do to keep yourself and your family safe. This is Alex Armstrong for GB News, and I'll see you next time. Stay alert, stay safe, and stay tuned.
These mist-covered mountains are a home now for me, but my home is the Lord Someday you'll return to your valleys and your farms, and you'll no longer burn to be brothers in arms. Through these fields of destruction, baptisms of fire, I've witnessed your suffering as the battle raged high, and though it hurt me so bad, in the fear and alarm, you did not desert me, my brothers in arms. There's so many different worlds, so many different suns, and we have just one world, but we live in different ones. Now the sun's gone to hell, the moon's riding high. Let me bid you farewell. Every man has to die, but it's written in the stars. In every line in your palm, we're fools to make one, all our brothers in arms.
Speaks it loud, he breaks the chains. No sugarcoating, no fake refrains.
Hello everybody, come and join me on Dreamcatcher Radio. My name's Ray Clements.
The truth unleashed.
I am on Fridays 2 till 4. Come and join the fun. Come and feel the positivity. Come and feel the energy. Dreamcatcher Radio, Fridays 2 till 4.
No shadows hide. Ray's got the truth on a wild ride.
So when we look around the world, there's various issues going on. And funny enough, I've just been sent a clip from Michael, who calls himself Englishman in Sweden. He's actually one of the presenters on Dreamcatcher Radio, very outspoken, and rightly so. He's a very concerned citizen for not only himself, but also his family and other people in his community, and no doubt the wider population. If you think about it, you got Iran, got issues, and why they bombed Qatar is beyond me, or bombed in Qatar is beyond me. Talk about provocation. And their resources are huge as well. Then you've got the Americans are on the Venezuelan border, and the Venezuelans are calling for basically their entire population to fight the Americans if they do invade. And you just kind of think, there's a bit more. Like, what is going on in the world? You've got Taiwan issue as well, which is not so much talked about. No more at the moment, because there's so much other news out there. I mean, this is a thing. The world keeps on giving news stories. I mean, that's without all the stuff, the domestic stuff that goes on. Killings, rapes, murders, and the like that goes on in the respective countries around the world. And you've got like Sudan, Syria, you've got African wars still ongoing. I mean, it's just absolute chaos and mayhem. I mean, I don't understand how you can stop it, if I'm perfectly honest. Because you kill more people, you get more families and people angry. But if you don't do anything, that's death and destruction on your doorstep. But I wonder how much of this we actually create. Anyway, here's a clip from Michael.
I've just received 40 highly advanced fighter jets from China. They are stockpiling missiles. They've got thousands of them. When they first attacked Israel, they used old missiles to expose the weaknesses in the Iron Dome. The second attack, lots of missiles got through. I'm in Cyprus, and the military build-up is massive. Iran and Israel are going to go at it again any day now, any day. Israel attack everybody, don't they? I mean, bombing Qatar, showing that they just don't give a toss. Meanwhile in Sweden, 3 people shot dead yesterday, 2 bombs exploded, 1 bomb was disarmed after a young kid found what looked like a suspicious box, and instead of opening it, as many young kids would, thankfully he didn't, and the police disarmed that one. What a mess. My MS is playing up. My throat's killing me. I've had enough. I'm going home. Ta-da.
I've been walking with my face turned to the sun. Weight on my shoulders, a bullet in my gun. Oh, I got eyes in the back of my head, just in case I have to run. I do what I can when I can, while I can for my people. While the clouds roll back and the stars fill the night, that's when I'm gonna stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home, far across the river. Can you hear freedom calling, calling me to answer? Gonna keep on keeping on. I can feel it in my bones.
You have made it 100 miles to freedom. Would you like to pick a new name to mark your freedom? Paradigm.
Early in the morning, before the sun begins to shine, we're gonna start moving towards that separating line. salvation. And I'll fight with the strength that I got until I die. So I'm gonna stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home, far across the river. Can you hear freedom calling, calling me to answer? Gonna keep on keeping on.
Harriet, welcome to the Underground Railroad.
And I know what's around the bend might be hard to face 'cause I'm alone. And I just might fail, but Lord knows I'll try. Shine stars fill the sky. Stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home, far across the river. Can you hear freedom calling, calling me to answer? Gonna keep on keeping on. I'm gonna stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home, far across the river. Do you hear freedom calling, calling me to answer? Gonna keep on keeping on. I'm gonna stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home, far across the river. I hear freedom calling, calling me to answer. Gonna keep on keeping on. I can feel it in my bones. I go to prepare a place for you. I go to prepare a place for you. I go to prepare a place for you. I go to prepare a place for you.
I am such a fan of that song. Such a fan of that song, Stand Up. I wonder who we stand up to, though. It's getting a bit weird now. We don't know who we should stand up to. I mean, even like voting nowadays doesn't really work, does it really? Look at all the promises Labour made. Unbelievably shocking. Absolutely shocking. Look at the state of the cabinet as well. Absolutely mind-boggling. Mind-boggling. It literally is terrifying, the standard of these people. It really is. It really is. I mean, David Lammy, God, my days. And he's not the only one. There's about 10 of them that I think should go. Anyway, I'm going to play this now. It's quite a long segment. It's about 16 minutes talking about Russia again in relation to the UK.
The UK can destroy Russia in just 55 minutes, and Putin knows it. That's why he's desperate to make Britain flinch. After UK-supplied Storm Shadow missiles struck deep inside Russian territory, Putin fired off his usual threats, even hinting at targeting the UK with Russia's newest ballistic missile. But here's the thing Putin doesn't seem to get. The UK isn't scared. While Russia talks a big game, the UK has the power to back up its words, and it's ready to remind the Kremlin of the consequences if they cross the line. With nuclear submarines that can strike Moscow before anyone has time to react, the UK isn't just a target, it's a nightmare for Russia. In this video, we're breaking down why Putin's threats are all bark, why the UK remains unshaken, and how Britain's submarines could change the game in just 55 minutes. The story begins with President Joe Biden finally lifting the restriction on US-supplied long-range weapons to strike deep into Russian territory. As soon as Biden gave this much-awaited green light, the US and France followed suit, permitting encouraging the use of their Storm Shadow and Scalp cruise missiles, which are practically the same weapon. And Ukraine wasted no time. The permission officially came on November 17, 2024. On November 20th, Ukraine fired the US-supplied ATACMS and the UK-supplied Storm Shadows on a fortified command post in the Kursk region. The attack reportedly killed Russian Lieutenant General Valery Solodchuk, injured a North Korean general, and killed hundreds of soldiers. Though Putin denied any deaths among the high-ranking officers, it's obvious that the November 20th attack severely rattled Putin. So he started firing off threats like warning shots. In a televised address, reserved for moments Putin deems critical, he issued a stern warning to the US and UK, accusing them of escalating the war in Ukraine. The message was simple: supply weapons used against Russia, and Russia will retaliate resolutely in a mirror way. He even floated the idea of targeting military facilities in these countries, a dangerous escalation designed to rattle Western resolve. During the same address, Putin boasted about testing a new missile, the Oreshnik, claiming that it's fast enough to evade any air defenses. Reportedly traveling at 10 times the speed of sound, the missile instantly became yet another tool in his arsenal of intimidation. Though the Oreshnik wasn't equipped with nuclear warheads when fired, Putin said that this weapon was comparable in strength to a nuclear strike, provided enough missiles were aimed at a target. But wait a second, Putin said that Russia would respond in a mirror way from now on. And as things stand, the UK wouldn't ever fire a nuclear weapon first. After all, the UK has historically showcased a commitment to a philosophy of deterrence, not aggression. So why are we even talking about a nuclear response from the UK? The answer lies in Russia's updated nuclear doctrine, which was unveiled only a day after the green light on long-range missile strikes into Russia. And as you'll soon see, the timing is no accident. With the new update, Russia has redefined sovereignty to mean much more than state survival. The term now includes regime stability, freedom from external influence, and even control of its information space. Any attack threatening these could now justify nuclear retaliation. And there it is, even a perceived external influence could now trigger a nuclear attack. The broad interpretation of this term blurs the line between existential threats and smaller-scale conflicts, creating a rather dangerous uncertainty. However, the doctrine does get rather explicit in specific parts, none of which inspire comfort. Russia's nuclear doctrine now explicitly states that if non-nuclear states like Ukraine act with the support of nuclear-armed allies like the UK, it could be seen as a joint attack, justifying a nuclear response. This language is a clear attempt to deter Western nations from arming Ukraine or escalating their military support. And that's not even the only potential trigger for a nuclear attack. The expanded list of triggers now includes military coalitions expanding near Russia's borders, large-scale exercises in proximity, threats to critical transport routes, and anti-satellite warfare. With this new list of triggers, Moscow ties even conventional acts to potential nuclear retaliation, injecting risk into every single confrontation. Ambiguity is Russia's weapon here. The doctrine doesn't spell out clear red lines, thus ensuring potential adversaries fear any miscalculation. It's about sowing division in NATO and keeping the West hesitant while shielding Putin's regime from external and internal threats. But do you know what else is rather ambiguous? The UK's nuclear deterrence strategy. While Russia wields uncertainty as a tool for destabilization, the UK embraces it to maintain peace and deter aggression. The UK's approach to deterrence deliberately leaves the when, how, and on what scale of its nuclear response undefined. This calculated vagueness is designed to keep adversaries guessing and complicate their decision-making. It's a subtle but effective way of ensuring the deterrent remains credible without being overly provocative. However, Professor Michael Clarke of the King's College London, the former Director General of the Royal United Services Institute, decided to break the UK's usual silence. In a YouTube interview, Clarke laid it all out, boldly, plainly, and a tad ominously. According to Clarke, if the order was given, a British nuclear submarine could obliterate Moscow in exactly 55 minutes. Yes, you heard that right, 55 minutes. And destroying Moscow means destroying Russia because, let's face it, the Kremlin isn't just the symbolic heart of the nation, it's its command center. Clarke then explained how this sheer scale of destruction was even possible. In their plan, around 40 warheads would immediately head towards Russia, each 6 times more powerful than the bombs dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Clarke doesn't mince words. No matter how many warheads Russia's air defenses managed to intercept, enough would reach Moscow to leave it utterly devastated. It's just a straight-up technological fact, he claimed. Clarke's point wasn't to escalate tensions, far from it. It was just to remind everyone that nuclear deterrence is mutual. He made it clear that while Russian figures like Sergei Karaganov talk cavalierly about using nukes against Europe, they conveniently forget that such aggression would invite catastrophic, retaliation. The UK might not have thousands of nuclear warheads like Russia or even the US, but its independent nuclear deterrent is just as dangerous in its own right. With this in mind, let's break down the UK's nuclear arsenal and explain how it's capable of such destruction. As of 2024, the UK maintains a stockpile of approximately 225 nuclear warheads, with up to 120 of them considered operationally available for deployment. However, only about 40 warheads are deployed at any given time, distributed across 4 submarines. Though the UK's stockpile is relatively small in comparison to the 2 leading nuclear powers, the US with 5,748 and Russia with 5,580, the strategic value of its sea-based deterrent is immense. Plus, not everything is in numbers, as a huge chunk of the Russian arsenal is virtually useless, either outdated or poorly maintained. The UK's policy is built on the principle of maintaining a minimal credible deterrent, which focuses on ensuring the country's security without engaging in excessive nuclear proliferation. Despite this, the UK's arsenal has been growing in recent years. The 2021 Integrated Review, a comprehensive assessment of the UK's national security, raised the cap on the total number of nuclear warheads the UK can own to 260. This marked the first increase in the country's nuclear arsenal since the Cold War. The timing of this change was no coincidence. The change was introduced right around the time Russia increased its aggressive posture. This wasn't the first time a change in the UK's nuclear doctrine was tied to Russia. During the Cold War, the UK developed an independent targeting doctrine, which was based on the Moscow criterion. This means that the UK's nuclear forces were intended to be capable of targeting the Russian capital, Moscow, along with other major cities, to ensure any nuclear conflict would have catastrophic consequences for the aggressor. Though the specifics of the UK's current targeting policies aren't fully disclosed, it's widely believed that the Moscow criterion still forms the core of its nuclear strategy. And one thing's for sure, you shouldn't mess with a country that has tailored its nuclear strategy specifically to ensure your capital is on the line. Suddenly, the 55-minute window is starting to make a lot of sense, isn't it? But the UK isn't only laser-focused when it comes to the potential target of its nuclear arsenal. It also relies on a single delivery system. This is an unorthodox approach in the nuclear world, where nuclear triads are typically the norm. The biggest players in the nuclear space rely on a combination of land-based missiles, strategic bombers, and submarine-launched ballistic missiles to ensure survivability in the event of a first strike. The UK, however, places all its nuclear eggs in one basket: the Vanguard-class nuclear-powered ballistic missile submarines, or SSBNs for short. The Vanguard-class submarines comprise 4 vessels. 1. The HMS Vanguard, the lead boat. 2. HMS Victorious. 3. HMS Vengeance. And 4. HMS Vigilant. These 4 vessels are among the largest and most powerful in the Royal Navy's fleet, with a submerged displacement of 17,500 tons. This impressive displacement makes them twice the size of their predecessors, the Resolution-class submarines. Each Vanguard-class SSBN is approximately 490 feet in length, which allows for the accommodation of up to 16 Trident II D5 missiles. These missiles, the backbone of the nuclear deterrent, are capable of reaching targets up to 4,600 miles away, providing the UK with a truly global reach. For context, all 4 submarines are based at the HM Naval Base Clyde, which is some 25 miles west of Glasgow, Scotland, and some 2,300 miles from Moscow. With this distance and the stealth of these submarines, they can practically sneak up on Moscow without anyone noticing. Pair the stealth with remarkable endurance, and you've got a never-ending threat to Russia. You see, the Vanguard-class SSBNs are powered by pressurized water reactors, which allow them to circumnavigate the globe without refueling. They have the ability to remain submerged for months on end, with their only limitation being the amount of food and provisions aboard. Their propulsion system gives them a maximum submerged speed of 25 knots, allowing them to evade detection and maintain an element of surprise. But the real speed comes when the Vanguard-class submarines launch their payload. The Trident II D5 missile, which measures an impressive 44 feet in length and weighs around 130,000 pounds, can travel at a blistering speed of over 20,000 feet per second after just 2 minutes of the third stage motor setting in. That's more than 20 times the speed of sound, enough to turn any enemy target into a distant memory before they've even had a chance to react. The power of the Trident missiles is simply unmatched, allowing them to deliver warheads with devastating accuracy. Additionally, each submarine is equipped with advanced surveillance systems, including optronic masts and a combination of search and attack periscopes. This allows them to monitor and assess their environment without exposing themselves to detection. And let us tell you, these submarines are always watching. The core concept of the UK's nuclear strategy is the so-called Continuous At-Sea Deterrence, or CASD for short. This policy has been in place since 1969, and it ensures that at least one Vanguard-class SSBN is always on patrol. The same submarine will also carry a full load, up to 16 Trident missiles, ensuring it's ready to strike and strike hard at any time. This relentless patrol guarantees that there is never a moment when the UK's deterrent is vulnerable. But why is this deterrent exclusively sea-based? Well, this has been a strategic decision as much as a technological one. You see, Russia's military buildup, particularly in the nuclear domain, has been a focal point of concern for NATO countries, including the UK. Russia's ongoing modernization of its nuclear forces, combined with aggressive rhetoric and military posturing, particularly in the context of the Ukraine conflict, has reignited fears of nuclear escalation. But if Moscow were to strike, it would strike land-based capacities. The ability of the Vanguard-class submarines to remain hidden and undetectable ensures that even in the worst-case scenario, the UK will retain the capacity to retaliate decisively against any Russian threat. In other words, sea-based deterrence is designed to ensure that the UK maintains a credible and effective response to Russian aggression under any circumstances. In response to nuclear advancements, the UK has committed to modernizing its own arsenal, including upgrades to the Trident II D5 missiles and warheads. The UK's warheads are closely tied to US technology and infrastructure. However, the UK has always maintained that it retains full sovereignty over its nuclear forces, with the final say in their use remaining firmly in British hands. However, this doesn't mean that the UK would act alone in the case of a nuclear escalation. While the UK retains the ultimate authority over its weapons, British nuclear targets are coordinated with NATO's broader nuclear strategy, as part of the American Single Integrated Operation Plan, or SEOP. This means that in a general conflict, the UK's nuclear arsenal will be deployed in line with NATO's needs and objectives, which could extend beyond targeting Russia alone. Yet, should Russia decide to launch a nuclear attack against Britain, the response would be unequivocal. All of the UK's nuclear deterrent would be aimed squarely at Moscow. In other words, the UK wouldn't hesitate to deliver its weapons directly to the heart of Russia's capital, making Moscow not just a target, but the target. At the end of the day, it seems the UK is quite prepared to take on Russia. That's probably why the country remains largely unshaken by Putin's frequent nuclear threats. In the UK, these threats hold little weight in terms of influencing policy or public opinion. The UK, along with Scandinavian and Baltic states, sees Russia's nuclear saber-rattling as more of a tactical effort by the Kremlin to instill fear and influence the decision of Western politicians rather than a serious threat. Essentially, the consistent, reckless nature of Putin's nuclear rhetoric has lost its impact in the UK, where the resolve to maintain a strong nuclear deterrent remains unwavering. The only thing that could potentially threaten this deterrent is the fact that each vessel in the Vanguard fleet has surpassed its originally planned service life of 37 years or more, and it's starting to show. All Vanguard-class submarines are increasingly displaying signs of wear. Maintenance problems like the recent incident where a faulty depth gauge nearly caused an accident highlight the difficulties the UK faces in maintaining these aging vessels. Lengthy patrols and extended maintenance periods, such as the nearly 4-year delay for the HMS Vanguard's deep maintenance, further strain the fleet's operational capacity. That's why the UK is already planning for the next generation of SSBNs, the Dreadnought class. These new submarines, slated to enter service in the early 2030s, will carry the UK's nuclear deterrent well into the 2060s. With a new pressurized water reactor designed by Rolls-Royce, the Dreadnought-class submarines will be more powerful, efficient, and capable than their predecessors, ensuring that the UK remains at the cutting edge of nuclear deterrence technology. Despite a reduced missile capacity, each Dreadnought-class submarine will only carry 12 Trident II D5 missiles compared to the 16 on the Vanguard class. These new submarines will offer a more modern, efficient, and reliable platform, incorporating the latest technological advancements such as the quad-pack missile compartments. These compartments were jointly developed with the US Navy, and they will also be present in the Columbia-class SSBNs, designed to replace the Ohio class in the US. However, the transition to the Dreadnought class comes with its own set of challenges. The biggest is that these submarines aren't expected to enter service until the 2030s. If there are any delays, the Vanguard submarines may have to serve well beyond their anticipated lifespans. This could present challenges in terms of readiness and maintenance, and put added pressure on the UK to sustain its nuclear deterrent capabilities in a time of escalating tensions with Russia. As Russia continues to modernize and expand its nuclear forces, the need for a reliable and ready deterrent remains as critical as ever. So the UK must balance the continued operation of its aging Vanguard-class submarines with the timely deployment of the Dreadnought class, ensuring that it can maintain its strategic edge in an increasingly unpredictable world. As Putin slowly runs out of options, he might try something drastic, like a nuclear test or even hitting British military assets. And while that's certainly worrying, don't expect the UK to flinch. Remember, the UK has faced down Russian provocations before. In 2006 and 2018, When Russian agents tried to poison British citizens, the UK didn't hesitate to take action. It expelled dozens of Russian diplomats, shut down Russian organizations, and ramped up security. The message was clear: if you mess with us, there will be consequences. This means that even if Putin decides to attack British military installations, the UK won't sit idly by. It will treat this attack like the crime it is. Russia might think it can get away with something like this, but Britain has a track record of tracking down perpetrators, and the Kremlin won't be able to hide behind their cyber attacks or sabotage for long. As for any larger provocations or attacks, the British SSBNs are always ready, lurking beneath the waves, ready to deliver a decisive response.
The interesting thing about that is you can unpack it and deconstruct it, and you can question quite a lot in there, can't you? But, you know, it's interesting anyway. Now, I'm going to play this song here by Riley Preston called Soldier's Light. She sang this when she was just 15. Such a lovely, lovely song.
You missed my first step. My first word was dad. This house is filled with pictures of someone I never had. I know your voice. I think I know your smile. But mommy says clothes haven't smelled like your clothes in a while. I know afraid all your letters that say how you do it for me. And mommy says how you keeping us safe, even though it might not be easy to see. We'll leave the light on until Daddy comes home. We'll leave the light on for our soldier to remember all who've fallen, honor all who served. The soldier's light will be lit, it'll forever burn. We'll leave the light on. Late at night, when mommy thinks she's all alone, I hear her pray to God. Lord, I don't know how much longer I can hold us together. Alone, it's becoming so hard. I know afraid all your letters that say how you do it for me. And mommy says how you keeping us safe, even though it might not be easy to see. Mommy, we'll leave the light on until Daddy comes home. We'll leave the light on for our soldier to remember all who've fallen, honor all who served. The soldier's light will be lit, it forever burn. We'll leave the light on. We'll leave the light on until Daddy comes home. We'll leave the light on for our soldier to remember all who've fallen, honor all who served. The soldier's light will be lit and forever burn. Let's leave the light on.
What a lovely, lovely song. Now we're coming to the end of the show today. It's a subject matter we need to talk about. And in all honesty, we don't have much opportunity where you don't get too depressed by talking about these sort of things. And now with freedom of speech, we're getting more and more tied on where and when we can say stuff. And sometimes it's felt like it's lost to the point where you can only say stuff at home or in private. Good luck. And I will say, I'm generally a person that does actually believe we've got serious problems. To what extent, we don't know yet. But time will tell. Time will tell. I'd like to thank you very, very much for listening in today. I know it's really hard subject matter as well. It really is. And I really, really appreciate all our listeners on Dreamcatcher Radio. Our numbers and listeners are growing every week, day, month, and we really, really do appreciate you. We've got more presenters coming on to Dreamcatcher Radio very, very soon, and you'll love their shows. One thing about Dreamcatcher Radio, which I always tell people, is we have so many different genres on the show. You'll always be able to find something you like. So look out for the shows that you like, keep them locked in, and don't forget we're on Alexa. Add the skill DCR, which just stands for Dreamcatcher Radio, and then you have to do that via your phone, and thereafter all you need to do is say, Alexa, play DCR. Thank you very much again for joining us today.